Okay, and here we are.
Yeah.
Our first recording.
Yes.
Pastor Gerhard.
I'm Gerhard Kisslinger, pastor in Vienna Christian Center, Europe. So,
Fantastic. All right. And how long have you been in this position?
I have been a pastor in this church now since 1997.
Since 1997.
Yes.
Okay, fantastic.
But
And-
I've been pastoring in other situations since almost 45 years.
yeah. Where was your position right before here at VCC?
It was in the Freikirchengemeinde, the Pentecostal movement,
Okay.
and I was one of the pastors in the church in Vienna here.
Okay, fantastic. That's great. So here in Vienna, Austria. So, Pastor, how would you describe your calling into leadership?
I must say that I was called to ministry as a young man after I've been saved out of a very troublesome life, and I tried to do my best. Let's say like this, and from the very beginning, I found out that people would follow me, and so I tried to help wherever I could. And the pastor in that little small church in Salzburg at that time saw the potential, probably.
Okay.
So he asked me if I could become the youth leader in this church. And I started to lead the youth, and I must say it was a challenge for me because I've not been a leader before. I was a student. I was in different, and I was a hippie, so not a real leadership concept, you know.
Yeah, sure.
But I just felt that there is the need for the people to be led, and that's why I started to become a leader. I started to read books. I started to study whatever I could so that I could become a better leader. I know that it was very weak in the beginning, but as I was able to get resources, and at that time more and more resources were available, I could learn more about leadership. One of my greatest leadership mentor is John Maxwell.
Yeah. As many others I've known as well.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say through that, you started reading a lot of books about leadership, and what would be, so there's John Maxwell. What would be maybe a second or third after that, of if you're telling somebody, hey, you need to read this guy, you need to read these books, or who else besides John Maxwell, or were there other books that were really formative for you?
Yes, of
or
course.
If it's John Maxwell books too.
Yeah. What is it? The habits.
The Seven Habits.
The Seven Habits.
Mm-hmm.
What is his name?
Covey.
Yeah,
that was Covey. Yeah.
I wrote through that several times, and that was very, very helpful.
Yeah.
And of course, I had a good senior pastor at that time.
Okay.
He was an older pastor, and his leadership style was a little different. So sometimes we were not on the same page. We did not agree of how to use leadership at that time. But he was from the East. He was from the former Yugoslavian countries, so had very much this influence of, I'm the one and you do what I say. And so there was a very strict leadership concept, I would say. Yeah.
That's interesting. Pastor, how would you best describe leadership, or if you could give your best definition of leadership and what it is?
It's actually said in one word: influence.
Okay.
Good. Real good leadership is influencing other people, and by this influence helping them to reach their goals in their life.
Fantastic. Would you be able to give a description of management versus leadership?
Yeah, I would say that leadership knows what to do, and management knows how to do it.
That's good. That sounds like John Maxwell.
Yes.
I think so. Yeah, but it's so good. Can you say it again? Leadership knows
what to do,
what to do,
and management knows how to do it.
how to do it. Yeah. That's fantastic. Do you think there's overlap?
Of course, of course. I don't think that there could be a leader without also being a part of a manager.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
But a manager doesn't make a leader.
No,
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Okay. Good. What would you say to an aspiring leader, say somebody in college, 20, 22, something like that, just getting into it?
I would suggest them to find a mentor, a good mentor, a leader, whom they see where they see that the leadership of that person is accepted, is a good leadership, and as you said, I'm very much inspired by John Maxwell's ideas.
Yeah,
you know these steps. You know, you always start with position,
Yes.
and I would tell them wherever you start with leadership, you know, be careful because it's just your position, you know, which makes you a leader. But don't stay there. Start to also try to get the acceptance and win the hearts of the people you're leading, and that's the next step, because then people will follow you because they want to follow you. And the next step would be that you really you are a very vital part of their life. That means you help them to accomplish their goals, and by this they follow you even more. And so step by step you can become a better leader. I would tell them, don't be discouraged if you're not the leader from step number 5 at the very beginning when you start leading people, but be faithful in what you do, what you have on leadership.
Yeah.
and see that there is a development that which you have to go through.
Okay. That's good. Can you describe a particular time when you were faced with a significant organizational challenge and how you answered that challenge? Keeping any details to yourself if you would or not. And what would you have done different if you were looking back?
I was the founder and leader of the Christian media production in Austria. In 1984, we started that.
Okay.
And we were producing Christian radio programs, Christian TV programs, and we had quite a good team, at that time. But I must say, the challenge which I saw in this time was that working with volunteers needs a very special way of leadership. And at that time, I was not really prepared for that, because normally media ministries, they have employees and they have they can spend money on people, and we could not, because we were just a small Christian ministry.
I see.
And I tried to do my best, but I saw that I sometimes I just failed the people, because they were volunteers, and I could not always see how I could help them to be part of that ministry and stay part. We had a lot of what do you call it, changes then.
Yeah,
you know,
sure.
people were here for a while and they went away and they came back. And I would say, if I would do it again, I would probably try to find 1 or 2 employees who had the skills to work with volunteers. And then I think today I'm better with volunteers than I was that time. I hope so, because I've learned a lot. But that is sometimes really a challenge. And in this ministry, it was a challenge.
Okay, interesting. I'm just curious too. How long was that ministry time for you? From 1984, you founded it.
84.
And then for like a few years.
It was actually we had productions up till 1986 or 7.
Okay.
And then we were rerunning our productions. So it was actually going up to 2010, pretty much on different channels.
Okay, I see.
Private channels, and then on the internet, of course, we started to do more in the internet.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
Early on.
Yeah. Actually, there was we also started a Christian internet company or ministry, which is called CrossNet, you know, and in cooperation with a Swedish Christian ministry, and so we were one of the first, you know, going into all this media and internet things,
I see.
which actually have developed pretty well.
Okay. That's great. So it still has left a legacy.
Yes,
of that, yeah.
there are still things going on in different ways.
Good. That's good. Pastor, what do you think will be the biggest challenge for leaders over the next 20 years?
Now, I would say there is quite a different. I'm working very much in Eastern countries like in Central Asia and in Caucasus and Balkan. And there's quite a difference in understanding of leadership in those countries and in our countries in the West. I would say in the West, the greatest challenge is that people are so individualistic and they do not want to accept leadership in their lives very easy. Okay. And I think that's a challenge. We have to find ways to win their hearts, you know, as leaders. That's for me the biggest challenge in this part of the world. In the eastern part of the world, actually, the greatest challenge there is that this Western thinking is more and more coming into those countries, and leaders who have been accepted in the past are now more and more seen as dictators, as and so because in the past this was not a problem. Now, because of the media and the influence which comes from the West, there's this problems.
So you're saying what was seen as culturally acceptable for how a leader should act and how a leader should be is changing.
Right.
And that's presenting problems and issues. Yeah.
Right. And that's why we go in with teachings and try to help them build the bridge, you know, to a new style of leadership.
I see. So the same, you're saying the same huge challenge that we have in the West is creeping into the East.
Yes.
Would you see that? Is there positives within the challenge?
Yes, of course, because it challenges us as leaders that we do not stay stagnant, that we know we have to develop, that we know we have to learn, that we know we have to also care for the people. I think caring leadership is something which is also very much a new concept. You know, in the past, the leader had somebody who cared for the people. Now the people just want to have caring leadership. You know, we know serving leadership and caring leadership. I think this is what is necessary in our time.
I see. And this doesn't, not a question for here, but just also kind of right at the end, along with that same concept, the biggest challenge for leaders, what would be the biggest challenge for the church here in Austria? And I guess I would be including the international church and within that too.
In Austria, I think it is this how could you say that, this rebellion against leadership. We had that in the politics, and it's also creeping into the churches. That this spirit of we do not want to have that leadership anymore, you know, and I think we need to find spiritual ways how to handle that, how to be in discussion, how to stay in a way of sharing our concerns. And I think this is something which maybe was the lack in the politics. That what we can learn from that is that we in the churches as leaders, we have to share our hearts. You know, we have to let them know what is in our hearts, not just what we know, not just what we want to do, but what is in our hearts.
That's very good. And that goes right along with, hey, what would you say to an aspiring leader and what they need over the next 20 years, so it fits in.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we've almost hit 15 minutes, so thank you so much for your time. I appreciate it.
You're welcome.
I learned some things as well, so thank you so much.